Hi guys, I'm John. This is Matt and Gil with me from Odam Publishing. We're here to play through a little bit of our new game, Age of Kingdoms, so you guys can get an actual in-depth feel of what the game is all about. We've set up the board and we're going to play exclusively on one side of the map to give you a real tense sample of what warfare in the land of Laruna is like. We've preset everything. Each of the players has chosen a kingdom and a ruler for that kingdom. And we'll maybe discuss a little bit about why we chose the selections that we made. I particularly am playing as Highland, which is one of the 6 kingdoms available during play. This particular kingdom is very focused on its defensive mechanisms. I'm a little bit of a turtle guy when it comes to strategy. I prefer to hold on until I can squeak out a win at the end. It suits my play style. I even matched it with a particular ruler that's very defensive. I picked a sentinel as my ruler, and these rulers give the player magic capacities to change the game. So this particular ruler suits that combination. It's a very defensive ruler. They're able to buff units, protect their kingdom, make sure that they're not overrun by more aggressive players. Matt might have taken a different approach.
I actually, I'm playing as Ranith. They're a little bit more of a magic-focused kingdom. The reason why I chose them, really, and why I really like them, is that they're a little bit more versatile. They don't necessarily have to turtle or be really aggressive. They can sort of adapt and react. So I'm planning on playing a little bit more of a reactive game, where I can use my agendas and my spells to handle whatever is going to come at me. I paired my kingdom with the sorcerer leader. One, because obviously the sorcerer uses a lot of magic, and since Ranith is a magic kingdom, those already have a pretty good synergy together. And 2, I know that my neighbor next to me, Gil, is actually playing a kingdom that is traditionally pretty aggressive. My units aren't quite as strong as his, so I know I may need a little something extra to deal with it in case he starts getting feisty. So I'm playing as a sorcerer, that way just in case he starts encroaching on my borders, I have my handy spells ready to
Feisty, you're saying.
have
Feisty.
something in my hands.
Gil, you're feisty.
So that's why he plays.
Tell us why you're feisty.
Well, this time around I'm playing the Kingdom of Narafane. As Matt mentioned, is a little bit more warlike of a kingdom. So my playstyle will be a bit more aggressive. And I chose the leader, the Soulbender, which I chose because it has some synergy with enhancing your units as far as attack, but it also has the ability to drain mana from players or from units as well. And since Narafane has sort of a low mana income, I thought that would create some good synergy, so I'd still be able to pop out a decent amount of spells while maintaining the attack.
See what I mean? He's already planning about how he can take all the mana that I have on my board. So I think this one is a good choice.
Reviewed my strategy. I guess it's not going to work so well.
Obviously, a lot of thought goes into how you're even going to play the game. Before you even start, picking your ruler, picking your particular kingdom is part of the fun of playing a game like Age of Kingdoms. So that said, why don't we let Matt start us off, and we'll walk you through the basics of how the game begins, and then you can kind of follow along while we try and pummel each other.
The first thing that we're going to do actually is we're going to complete the last step of setup that each player would take, which is they'll take their 3 workers and they'll already place them on which spot on their kingdom map that they want to be worked. That way when we go in, we can start immediately with income as per normal. So that's sort of the last thing that everyone does.
Now, I am sure there will be a link to the current state of rules. You can read a little bit about what the kingdoms do, why you might want a particular tile to be active versus another. But like any good worker placement game, picking and choosing where you want to devote your workforce is a big part of the strategy of winning a game of Age of Kingdoms. So let's be real careful about where we assign our fellows here. Okay. What's next, sir?
Okay, so that would end setup, and now we're going to start with the first phase. It goes in turn order. I'll be first player, John will be second player, Gil will be third, and then first player rotates around. So since I'm the first player, the first thing that happens is the income phase. So I'm going to receive all the income for my kingdom. Here on the kingdom mat, you have a top row that has resources. That row is automatically worked, so you'll always get those resources every turn. Then the rest of the rows have other resources that you can gain by placing your workers.
I see. Your resource row is different than ours. So each of the kingdoms has a little bit of a different generic income. Is what you're
Exactly. As you can
saying.
see, I have 4 magic as opposed to his 1 mana that he can get. And so he has more food than either of us. So
I
that's
see.
why he's better served towards using his food to
I get
get
it.
more units.
I get it.
So in this case, what I'm going to need is I'm going to need 3 gold tokens.
Okay.
John will be playing as the banker, as it were, sort of grabbing everything off screen.
Taking a little extra off the top for myself, right? Right?
Not yet. I'll need 4 food tokens.
Sure. Have those. Food.
And I will need 4 magic tokens.
Sure.
Great. Now, one of the things, since I'm gathering my income now, I should mention is I'm putting all the tokens in my treasury. The reason why that's important is because each kingdom's treasury can only hold up to 5 resources when your turn is done. So you have to look
Now,
at your resources.
5 total or 5?
5 of each resource. So I could have 5 gold, 5 food, 5
I
magic. That way you can't just sit and hoard and then wait and wait and wait. You're encouraged to be consistently spending.
Okay.
My third worker, because one of my workers gave me the extra gold, one of them gave me the extra food. The third worker is on the patrols, which allows me to increase my stability. Stability is a very important mechanic because what it does is it basically shows how efficient your kingdom is and basically opens your options up. When your stability is in the green section, you're able to work this 3rd row of tiles. What's in the green or the blue, you can work these 2. And then when it's in all 3, you aren't any of them. So the higher your stability, the more options you have, and obviously the lower row is a little bit more powerful than the other ones.
So if Gil's feisty barbarian hordes come screaming across the borders and ruin stability, we suffer bad things.
Yes, it's going to be pretty bad for us. So that's one way
Not barbarians, the gladiators.
I don't believe you
They're
at all.
well trained.
Whatever.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to
The
increase
enemies.
my stability by 1, just to keep myself safe, just in case.
Okay.
Okay, now the second thing that would happen is you could play agendas, spells, or recruit units. Basically, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do. Before that, we would normally need to pay our upkeep. In this case, at the very beginning of the game, the first turn, there's nothing to upkeep, so you don't have to pay that.
Okay,
We'll
cool.
get into that once we're in that phase. So I'm going to draw 3 of my agenda cards. Normally, I would draw 2 spell cards, but since I'm playing as a sorcerer, I can hold an additional spell in my hand.
He's already cheating.
So I have 3 spells and 3 agendas.
I don't like
So
this.
let me take a quick look and see if I have anything of interest that I may need. Okay, so I'm not going to play any agendas or spells at the moment, since so far I think everyone's planning on being relatively peaceable. But since I do know I have an aggressive neighbor next door, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to recruit a unit.
A runit?
Wow. I'm going to recruit a unit.
That's how nervous your bar boards are making him.
Apparently.
So each unit has its name, its cost, stats. In this case, I have to spend 1 food, 1 gold, and 2 magic. There you go. I'll
Unbelievable.
give that to you, to the bank, not to you.
Yeah.
And I will take, obviously in the final game, you'll be playing with your miniatures. In this case, for the prototype, I'll be taking my standee of the Flame Guard, putting them right there in the borders of Ranith. And so...
I think this is an act of aggression. He's already got a unit on the board. I don't like it.
He does seem to be threatening already.
All right.
And then with that, I took my income. We didn't have to pay income. Upkeep. I played all my possible things that I wanted to do. I'm pretty happy with the current state of affairs here, so I'm going to finish my turn and pass it on to you.
Okay, so I guess I have to go through the same rigmarole. There's no upkeep. I got to collect my income, which seems to be a lot less than yours, so I don't know. I'm going to end up with 3 gold and 4 food. So I'm going to take that from the bank. There's my 4 food and my 3 gold. And I'm also going to get 1 mana. And now let's talk about these. My kingdom has defenses and army. What do they do?
That's a very good question. Defenses It was actually where the patrols that got us my stability from.
Right. I'm going to get one as well, like you did. I placed a worker there for stability because I'm envisioning chaos when Gil invades all of our homes.
And something that's actually pretty relevant to you, since you actually have 3 of these symbols and I only have 1, and we're talking about the ensuing chaos, is your garrison rating, your garrison tokens. Basically, think of that as the defense for your kingdom. While your units may have their personal defense when someone's trying to attack them, your garrison form serves as a defense when units are trying to attack your kingdom itself. Basically, they have to, when they deal damage to your kingdom, they'll deal damage to your garrison first, they'll get lowered, and then if they're able to get past that, they'll be able to actually start doing damage to your kingdom and possibly sack you.
So these are literally representing your defenses for the territory you control. And you're going to use these tokens to represent kind of the armor that's protecting you from.
Exactly.
Okay.
Once we get to a point where we may need to show off where the garrison would go on the board, we'll move into that. At the moment, we'll just need to know that my garrison is 1.
So it's okay if I take the 3 tokens and the 2 tokens
yes.
for command?
Unlike other resources, your garrison and your command, your orange and red tokens, they don't accrue and go in your treasury. Instead, it's just a standing rating. So at the moment, you currently stand at 3 and 2. I would stand at 1 and 1.
And now let's talk about favor. This purple token.
Yes.
So,
since I did not get that, you can.
My understanding is that every kingdom has a different starting favor. Now, of course, what's it all about? It's not just to pummel one another, even though that's satisfying in its own right. Age of Kingdoms is a game about a world on the brink of apocalypse. You know, at the end of the world, there is a myth, if you will, that only one kingdom will be saved by their gods. And in this particular case, we're all competing for the favor of these gods so that we're the one glorious kingdom that's spared. And the favor of these gods is represented in these tokens. So Highland, being a highly religious and traditional kingdom, starts with actual victory currency. So I would start the game with 3 favor, giving me a leg up before the game has even begun. Now, I don't know if Narafane or neither of you do, so I guess I'm winning. That's pretty much what it means. If the game ended right now, I mean, that's some first quarter
there you go.
winning right there.
Yeah, it's a good thing it doesn't end on the first turn.
That's
And then the last thing that we will mention is the army tokens, since this is relevant to me. Next to your defenses is you have your army column, and the top one will give you a certain amount of command tokens. Just like garrison tokens, these aren't spent or put in your treasury, they're just a current rating, so mine is currently 1. Basically, command tells you how many units that your kingdom is able to support. In this case, Raneth, as I mentioned earlier, isn't a very unit-heavy sort of strategy or kingdom, so I only have 1. Since I took this 1 fire guard, I'm going to put the 1 token on here. This shows that this unit is under my control, so it'll listen to my commands to pay its normal upkeep, which we'll get to next turn, and basically everything goes normally. If you have a unit that doesn't have a command token, bad things can happen, and that's something that we can explain if it comes up.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, then my income, for the most part, is done. I increased my stability, got all of my resources, set up all my tokens. I'm clearly winning because I have favor. And then I have to draw my hand and see if there's anything of interest that I would like to do via agendas and spells. Now, I guess the important thing to understand is the kingdom dictates what agendas they can put into motion. Highland's agendas give it its style, its pizzazz, if you will. Very defensive metrics, things that help it farm glory, things that embrace a certain type of play style. Whereas I'm sure Narafane and Gil's agendas are going to be much more geared towards war and profiting from that state of affairs. But the spells come exclusively from the ruler themselves. I picked a very, like I said, defensive ruler, the Sentinel. So my spells are going to focus very much on protecting my kingdom, my people, my units, whereas that will be very different for each of you. Now, in this particular case, I am actually going to play an agenda. Each turn, I believe, you can only play 1 of each.
You can play one agenda and one spell. One other thing I should remind you is if you look at your hand and you don't like what you have, you could pay 1 gold to draw a new agenda and replace one, or you can pay 1 magic in order to draw a new spell. That way, if you're sitting and you feel like none of these are relevant to the current position, you can use your resources to cycle new agendas into your hand.
Well, the noble people of Highland are going to play Honor Bound. All right, it has no cost. It allows me to recruit either a cavalry or a warden for free.
Great.
Yeah, so when the people of Highland are in need, their soldiers answer. I'm going to return it to the bottom of my deck, and I'm going to recruit a cavalry, because who doesn't love cavalry? I will move my command token to the cavalry unit, which I'm going to get from here so I can look at its stats with which I might crush you all. And
Apparently, I was looking at the wrong neighbor when I was worried about aggression.
you never know. You never know what might happen. I'm just preparing for war in the inevitable event one of you gets feisty.
Wow.
And I think that's it for me. I'm good.
All right.
So you're up.
All right, then I'll take my income. I'm going to need 3 gold, 5 food, and 2 mana.
5 food. That's definitely the most of any of us, for sure. Here's your food, sir. Your gold. And you needed 2 mana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Then I'll draw my agenda cards and my spells. See what we've got here. Okay, I'll save these, I think, for later. Okay. All right, since everyone's recruiting units around here, I've got to keep up for sure.
Come on, Gills. Show us that war machine. See
At
what
the
you
very
got.
least, I'm going to spend 1 and 1 to recruit a militia to get started. Put this guy out here.
So he's got a flame guard out. I've got a cavalry, and the best you could come up with was militia.
For now.
It's going to be easier game than I thought.
You wish. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me put my command token on this guy. And then I'm actually going to do the first upgrade here. The gold mines cost 2 gold to
Let me
upgrade.
talk a little bit about what, let's explain what
Yeah,
you're doing
right.
on the mats and what you're actually able to do. right
Basically,
here.
each tile from the second row down can be upgraded as you go along. So if you wanted to, say, focus on any particular one of these bonuses, in my case, gold, I'm going to spend my money to upgrade the gold mine tile to gold mines 2, so that from then on, each turn it'll produce an additional gold resource. So I'm looking to focusing, producing a lot of gold and money.
So we have to worry not only about how we're going to control the board, but how we're going to evolve the actual kingdom itself if we're going to come out on
Right.
top at the end, is what's going on.
And importantly, I'm going to do it on a tile that I'm already working, so I'll immediately get the benefits next turn, so I don't have to move a worker around somewhere else. So you could take
I
2,
don't like where this is going.
and I'm going to put my little gold mined upgrade tile right here on the sheet. So next turn, I'll be getting 4 gold. Yeah, I think
You done?
that's it. Yeah, it's my turn.
Okay, so all 3 of us went through our kingdom phase where we manage what's going on here in our individual kingdoms. So then the cycle is going to repeat, except this time we're doing our map phase. So everyone's pretty much going to be paying attention to what's going on here on the map. Turn order remains the same. I'm going first. My map phase action is pretty simple. I only have 1 unit, so I'm going to move that unit 1 space. And that is it. Units can move once and then attack once during the map phase. You can do that with however many units you currently have. There are a couple other things that can come up during the map phase, but in general, in the map phase, you're dealing with your units specifically, because since they're the ones who are acting out in the world of Laruna. So then I've moved. I don't have anything else to do, so I'll get to you.
I guess it's my cavalry's turn to move and attack, as you say.
Or
So,
attack.
the unit tells me that my cavalry's movement is much higher than yours. So I'm going to move my cavalry the 1 and 2 spaces into Hadramekis. Now, this is a territory, not a kingdom. The kingdoms are special locations that are controlled by players. My understanding is that the territories are to be exploited at
Indeed.
all costs. So I'm going to maybe play a little uncharacteristic for what I described my kingdom and actively go after Hadramekis here. So I'm going to occupy Hadramekis.
Okay.
with my cavalry. Now the cavalry has a damage score of 2 on its unit. So since it's a territory and not controlled by a player, there's none of that garrison stuff, no protection.
That's correct.
That we discussed
So
earlier.
your damage is going straight
there. So normally would be represented with kingdom tokens, but for this prototype and for the purposes of experimental play, I'm just going to put the damage right here on Hadramechus so that you can clearly see that I've inflicted 2 wounds to it. Now, 5 is the magic number for territories.
That's
Once
correct.
they take 5 damage, it becomes under my control. And then I could start using its fancy stuff against Gil.
Mhm. Well,
Well, I mean, Gil's obviously the enemy here. All right.
You're the one who's doubling down on all this defensive stuff. We're going to have to team up to take you down anyways.
Me?
You better watch out.
I'm homeless. It's all right. So my unit's done. It's all on you, Gil.
Okay. Well, everyone seems to be heading towards territories. My guy only has a movement of 1, so I'm going to head in this direction towards Nevalon.
I don't like it.
Keeping an eye on Matt's flame guard that's coming this way.
So you're kind of like an administrator here during the kingdom phase. You're managing your population, the stability of things, whether you should increase your mana pools or your gold mines and the granaries, all of that stuff. You're kind of sculpting your kingdom into the kind of engine you need to get to the win.
in my mind, the way I always pictured it, or I liked to picture it, was that you were a ruler in a council room, and you have all this information out in front of you. You have your map of Laruna. You have all of your, counselors in front of you, and you're basically directing your economy, the general, civics side of running your kingdom, and then you're moving over to your war map, as it were, and handling the war effort at the same time. So, maybe next time we'll get some giant thrones and
We'll see about that.
some goblets, and we'll go all out.
All
But
right.
for now, we'll have to do
We'll
some
settle
theater of
this.
the mind.
Okay, all right. So now once the map phase is done, what happens after that?
Next would be the trade phase, but since no one set up a trade route with each other, which we'll get into when that comes up,
Oh, it will come up.
there is no trading. So next up is the next phase, the second turn. So you would be the first player.
Well, you're going to move a little meeple,
We're
right?
going to move. We're on the second turn. This would be the world events turn. There are a few different things that can happen in the world events turn. Every 5 turns, an actual world event card is drawn. This is also where we would do things like declare a war on each other, settle formal trade agreements or formal military alliances. Basically, these are things that affect the entire world. That's all handled here at the very beginning.
So if I want to declare war on Gil, now's the time.
Now would be the time. I think it would be an inefficient way to do so since you're pretty far away
I
and
don't
pretty
know.
early.
I'm just asking.
But this
Just
would be
wanna-
the time to declare war.
Okay.
Or if he was soliciting my help to go into military alliance against you, now would be the time to do it as well.
So there's going to be quite a bit of backstabbing and negotiating going on. during
I mean, if
this.
that's the way you're going to play it.
Well, it's definitely the way we're going to play. I mean, but I think I'm good for the world
Okay.
events. It's
So
peaceful.
we're good for world events, so we'll go back to the kingdom phase. We'll start with you. First thing you do is you'll take your income.
Okay. And it's pretty much the same as before, so I'm going to take my 3 gold. And I'm going to take my food. Let's see what that is. And my 1 mana. All right, so now, if I remember correctly, you said the granary can only hold 5.
Your
So-
treasury can only hold 5.
Oh, yeah.
But that
treasure.
doesn't happen until the end of your turn, so you have until the rest of your kingdom phase to drop that down to 5.
Okay, so I don't have to
Then
worry that I
access
went
will be
over
lost.
right now.
No, that you do not.
Okay.
And fortunately, it may not necessarily be as over as you thought, because now that we actually have things going on, we're going into the second part of your turn, which is the upkeep phase.
Mhm.
Basically, you have to pay your upkeep in order to keep everything running. It's pretty simple. Usually, you have to pay your upkeep for your units and for your population. Your unit, if it has a command token, as I mentioned before, it only costs 1 food to keep that unit fighting for
So
you.
I've got to spend my 1 food for my cavalry to keep him under my command.
That's correct. And then if you had any population growth, you would have to pay food for there.
But I haven't
You
done
don't
that
at the moment, so your upkeep is good there.
I see.
So there's no other upkeep that you have to pay. So this is now your time to do whatever the actions you want to take.
I get it. So now I'm going to spend my gold like Gil did last turn, and I'm going to use it to improve one of my tiles. I am going to do so for my gold because in peaceable pursuits, I think it's always wise to have a good economy. So it says 2 gold to improve my gold mines. And I'm going to take my little gold mines tile and lay it over the default. And so now this guy will yield 2 gold instead of 1.
Following my lead, huh?
One might say it was prudent. That's what I'm going to do with my gold, and then with my food, I'm going to spend to increase my population because, well, a hardy civilization has got to be more productive, right?
Since Gil asked about that as well, a couple of things.
What do I do?
You can spend 3 food at any time to increase your population by 1.
Sounds good to me.
You're spending your 3 food. You're just going to put your little token right at the first spot. From now on, in your subsequent upkeeps, you'll have to also pay a food for your population. And the higher your population gets, the more food you'll have to pay.
But the more people I have, the better off I am?
That is correct.
Okay. I like more people. That's good.
Now, you can only do that once per turn unless you're playing the patrols tile, because one of its benefits is it allows you to purchase an additional population per turn.
So if I want to grow faster, I have to intentionally plan to grow faster.
That's correct.
So that's pretty much the scheme here, is that you want to build with a purpose, not just willy-nilly. You want to plan for trade routes. I see there's things here for trading, there's things here for magic. So I want to build the kingdom for the purpose that I'm pursuing.
That's correct.
Now, why would I do such a thing? Why wouldn't I simply prepare for war if we know Gil is going to be an aggressive pain in the backside?
If you just keep pointing.
I'm just saying.
Done a thing yet.
We just know that this is what's going to be at some point. So why wouldn't I exclusively look to pummel him in the fields of battle? What's the plan here? What good is trading for monies if in the end I'm only going to do sword fighting?
Well, because at the end there are multiple different ways that you could gain favor, and as you said, favor is the name of the game. It doesn't matter if you kill all of his units or even if you sack his kingdom. If at the end of the day he still has more favor than you, he's still won. For example, one of the most obvious and straightforward ways that you can gain favor is by playing a worker on your temple. Your temple straight up just gives you favor tokens every turn. Now the temple obviously costs 4 gold to upgrade, that way you can get more favor, and it requires green stability in order to play. So you do have to plan towards that level.
I see. So if Gil sacks your kingdom and destroys your fields and all that stuff, he gets glory. But if he doesn't get as much glory as you earned from worshiping day in and day out at the temple, you still beat him.
Favor, but
however you want to look at it.
Yes, basically. And the other thing, too, is you have to remember is, as you mentioned, your agendas are specifically tied to your own kingdom. So your agendas may have different ways for you to gain favor or do other things that aren't necessarily a matter of let's just throw everything towards the war.
So that's kind of cool.
So it is very possible to play an entire game of Age of Kingdoms without ever going into direct battle with another player. You could play completely peaceably. We've had games where someone was doing really well on the war end, but someone was sneakily gathering that favor on the side. And as I said, they ended up the winner. So it's not a game of,
simple military might.
That's right.
I get it.
Unless, of course, everyone decides that that's what they're going to do. If everyone's going all in on the war effort, then
we'll see about that. We'll see how pleasant of an experience Gil lets us have with the board. I could deal with that. So I guess I'm going to use the leftover gold to do this, because why not? I'm going to play something called Cultural Attractions. It cost me 3 gold, but apparently the old-fashioned and venerable kingdom of Highland is something worth coming to see, and it will increase my population by 2. That's kind of cool.
And since you were able to move your population marker onto the green space in that little section, that means you now have access to another worker. So you can grab another worker and place them on any tile that you want.
I can place them anywhere?
Yes.
Well, that I have access to.
That you have access to. So anywhere where you have the appropriate amount of stability.
I see. So I could put them over here and actually gain additional mana each turn.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you can't gain any of that until your next turn, so you do always have to plan ahead that you have your workers where you want them for the next income phase. You don't get anything from placing it on it. It's from the actual income.
Okay, so this is going to get tense. We're going to have to plan ahead and make sure that we've got all of the right workers doing the right things for when bad stuff happens, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready, Gil. I'm ready.
You finished?
Oh, yeah.
All right, then I'll take my income. I need 4 gold, 5 food, and 2 mana, please.
4 gold, 5 food, And 2 mana, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. That is baloney. That's way more than I got.
Okay. So now, I'm going to spend all this gold actually. I'm going to recruit another unit.
First, you're going to
Oh, right, I have
your
to pay
income.
the upkeep.
Yeah, upkeep.
For the militia, which is just 1 food.
That's correct. Here you go.
And my population is still 0, so I don't have to pay for that. So now I can spend 4 gold and 2 food to recruit a gladiator unit. So let me bring this guy out here. Put my command token. I get my gladiator out here on the map, and he's way more powerful than this militia, so that's good. And I'll spend 3 food to increase my population by 1.
No, wait a minute. He did just say that he's way more powerful than the militia, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so how do we
No,
know?
so is your cavalry.
Well, yeah, but how do we know how powerful it is? Like, what does the cards give us the stats? So that's what's
Yeah.
dictating how strong this unit is.
That's correct.
So I've got to kind of guesstimate whether my cavalry can just run over this gladiator or not.
Well, one of the general rules of Age of Kingdoms is that other than what's in your hand, everything has to be open to the table. So if you wanted to look to specifically see what the gladiator has, he has to show you. Same thing with whatever income they have.
All right,
like
so we'll
that.
find out soon enough.
So,
Okay.
they're,
Well, I can tell you, he's got 3 attack and 3 defense, so, and 2 move.
okay. My income, so I need 3 gold.
I have to give it to you, right?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Come on,
All right,
Marker.
fine.
3 gold,
You knew the job, having
All
to sit in
right.
that corner.
All right, so be it.
4 food,
Here you go. 400 mana.
and 4 mana.
All right. There you go. I don't like where this is going. Everybody seems like they're getting more income, so this is like a literal war of economies could be played here.
Yeah, of course. The competition, as we said, isn't just on the board, but also what everyone's planning to do in their kingdom. So now I have to pay my upkeep. I only have the 1 unit, so I'm going to pay the 1 food,
Sure.
my upkeep. Next, I'm going to decide to move my stability up 1 since I have the patrols, and I'm going to actually join in the party when it comes to raising up my population. Since I'm on the patrols tile, I'm actually going to spend 6 of my food, all of my food, to increase my population by 2.
Damn.
Let's see.
I didn't realize that I could afford to do that. Maybe next turn. All right.
And since I see that my kingdom is a little bit food deficient, and food is used both for my population and for my units, I think I'm going to spend 3 of my gold, and I'm going to improve my granary to the next level. So I'll be getting more food.
Unreal. Okay. So now what happens if you have leftover? What happens if you don't spend that mana? Does it just get lost?
It is just lost, which is why I'm going to give myself a little double check
Cook up a
to
spell.
see if there's anything that I may need to do. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to spend 1 mana to draw a new spell. The spell I don't think I'm going to be needing anytime soon. So I'm going to draw a new spell, and then I'm going to discard back down to 3. So I'm going to discard the spell that I didn't use. So I now am back to 3 and 3. My treasury is full of mana and a couple of gold. So beyond that, I am done with my kingdom actions. So we will now move on to
The map.
the map.
And I'll go first. My cavalry's already gotten into place. I'm going to continue my conquest of Podremercus. I'm going to inflict 2 more damage to it. And unless someone has anything to say about that, I guess next turn I'll finish the job. That's
All
it.
right.
That sounded like a challenge.
Maybe.
I've got my own objectives over here. So I'm
As
gonna
in conquering,
move
rather.
this guy here, and he'll do 1 occupation damage because his damage is 1. Let me get those health tokens.
Sure.
So it just done 1 damage here. Now, my gladiator has a movement of 2. He's a little more agile, so he can go all the way here, and he will deal 2 occupation damage since he can move and attack once per turn. So I'm using my movement to get there, and then my 1 attack to deal occupation damage. And yeah, that's it for me.
Similarly, I'm going to move to Tira Vale. I'll also need a wound token, since I'm going to be using my 1 damage.
So everybody's putting their stakes in land. I see how this is going.
Pretty much, this is more of the area control segment of the game, where everyone's planning on what areas they're going to control. Once someone has one of them, we'll go into why you actually want some of these territories.
I see.
So, but it seems like plans are forming on the corners of the western continent.
All right. So now that's it for the turn. Well, we got trade, but there's no trade
There's
routes.
no trade routes, so
We move on to turn 3.
that's correct.
So our little meeple marches on.
All right, income first. So 4 gold, 5 food, 2 mana.
Ugh.
Chop chop.
4 gold, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That's just any gold for you is too much.
It's not enough.
2 mana, you say?
Yeah,
And how much food?
5.
Oh my. Everybody getting more than me. I don't like this. All right, so now what?
That's a good question. Now I gotta pay upkeep. I've got 2 units, so that's 2 food tokens, and 1 pop, so that's 3 upkeep that I have to pay. Let's see. Now, I've got some options here. Should I invest all in gold, or should I worry about food? Gold is the...
So
Really
these are
gold
the
for
tough
me.
choices,
Yeah.
really. Not just.
You know what? I'm
battle.
just gonna go all out on gold. Forget it. Here's 4, and I'm gonna upgrade my gold mines from 2 to 3, the maximum level. So now I'll get 5 gold a turn. So I'm going for gold early. Hopefully it'll pay off in the end. I'll spend 3 more food
I think we'll need to trade early.
to increase my pop 1 more space here.
I think Gil throws for a loop. We're all worrying about his warmongering, and meanwhile
Instead
he's
he's-
building up a nice little economic
Well,
engine.
you got to pay for the war engine.
I see.
Oh, I see.
All right.
And then I have like this extra mana, so I think I'm just gonna spend 1 to discard one of these spells because I can't really use them so much right now. So put this on the bottom. Now this is considered like being discarded because I'm getting rid of it.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
So I'll put it face up so that I know I need to reshuffle when I get back to that point. All right, I like that card. I like that. Yeah, that's good for my kingdom phase.
Okay.
So you're up.
Yep, I need my income now of 3 gold. I'm now getting 6 food since I upgraded my food tile. I'm going to increase my stability by 1.
Here. And what about mana?
6 food.
And I need 4 mana.
There you go. Look at this guy. You're complaining about Gil's engine. A lot of tokens.
It is a lot of tokens.
Oh, I didn't realize
Unfortunately,
the granary upgrades so easily. It goes from 2 to 4, huh?
Yep.
I think I might have to do that next.
unfortunately, as they say, easy come, easy go. So here's 2 food for my upkeep.
Okay.
I'm going to spend another 3 food to increase my population, which grants me another worker. And since I've been diligently patrolling the streets of Ranith, my kingdom has been stable. I was able to move my stability marker into the green, which means I now have access to not just these 2 rows, but this final row. So I have a few different options here. And I think for demonstration purposes, and since like you said, if the game ended right now, you'd be winning, I'm going to place my worker directly on the temple.
Ooh.
So next turn I would get one
Victory
favor.
points.
So I'm now already, through my own internal work,
Gil, I think that's
able
an
to get
act
some
of
victory
war.
points.
I think it is.
That's definitely an act of war.
Can't allow that to happen.
What do we have to do to fix this?
I
So
got
now-
some things I could do.
Theoretically, if we wanted to and perceive this as a threat, we could actively work to undermine this effort.
Yes.
Okay.
If you had ways to reduce my stability.
If
There are a couple of
we had
ways.
ways to do such a thing. we could.
And since I am here on the temple and I have this excess of gold, I think I'm going to spend 4 gold to go ahead and upgrade my temple. So this way, rather than getting 1 favor next turn, I'll be getting 2.
Oh. I don't know, Gil. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't stand it. We're gonna have to figure something out here.
So that's the end of your kingdom phase.
That is correct.
So now it's my turn.
The last thing I am going to do, though, since I do have this extra mana,
Dump it.
I'm going to reduce my mana to 5.
Sounds like a
Jeez.
bad administrator.
Yeah,
over
what kind of
there.
spellcaster?
I
are you?
don't
You're not
know.
even spending your
I
money.
don't know. Doesn't sound good, Matt. Lost resource sounds like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Oof, that would break my heart.
If you want me to start casting spells, I can.
I think you should. Gil's right over there.
Plus, I'm not holding back.
All right, so now I have to collect. All right, let's see what we can do about this here. I get 4 gold.
You guys already have extra workers. What is this?
I get my 4 food
I'm gonna have to keep up my
Here.
population here.
and my 2 mana right here. And now I have to pay my upkeep for everything, and I get 1 stability. So now I too am in the final tier of stability. All right, so I got to pay upkeep for my cavalry. That's 1 food because he has his command token, and I have to pay upkeep for my population, which is 1 food. So I'm gonna do that first. And now I have to do all of my kingdom activities. The tough decisions need to be made. All right, I guess I am going to put Matt's situation to the test. I'm going to spend 3 food on an agenda called charity. Apparently the religious folk of Highland are very into kindness. Reduce the cost of any religion tile upgrade by up to 5.
Wow.
So my temple upgrade of 4 becomes 0.
There you go. Great agenda.
Sounds like somebody is going to be worshipping soon. Collect that favor, and I redraw my agenda.
That's correct. You always draw back up to a max hand.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, if I want to replace my little meeple workers, I can just do that, right?
You can during your turn during the kingdom phase. That is one of the actions you can take, but there is a downside to that. Is whenever you move your workers, you have to spend 1 stability. So you lower your stability by 1, and then all 4 or however many workers you have can be moved to as many other tiles as you want.
Wow, that
Basically,
creates...
the idea is that the more you're changing your strategy and the more you're scrambling to get your workers to move around, the less stable your kingdom will be. So you do want to try to make sure you're planning ahead rather than simply just changing willy-nilly.
I see. So now, because of that, if I move my meeple to my temple to work it right away, I won't even have enough stability to work it.
That's correct.
I see. So they'll have to wait.
That's correct.
I'll catch you soon.
So
Don't
it seems
worry.
like you've played your hand a little early since you've upgraded your temple, but you're not even going to,
All right,
to
fine.
gain the benefit
I took
of
my
that,
hand a little,
so.
maybe a little. It's all right. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to spend the rest of my food to upgrade my population yet again, put it into the next tier, and then I'm going to spend some gold to upgrade another tile, which will be my granary tile, to get it to rank 2. Let me find my granary. It's right there. There we go. Now he'll be farming a little bit extra food. My mana's been accruing. I don't have any spells that I want to play. We're in pretty much good shape as far as I can tell. Now, if I wanted to say, solicit Gil to be a trade partner in your obvious effort to outglory us, how would I go about such a thing?
Well, there are two sides to that. One is the mechanical side, which is pretty easy. When you decide you want to start a trade route, you have a list of how much gold it costs to establish that trade route. Everyone's only allowed to have one trade route at a time, unless you work your markets or your specific kingdom that allows you to have more than one trade route. So then once you do that, you just pay the gold, you put your cube to notate that you have a trade route, and then during the trade phase, you can trade whenever you want. As I said, that's the easy part. The hard part is convincing Gil that
to give me stuff.
He'll want to trade with you. And when you do have a trade route, basically the players are able to trade a number of resources amongst each other at any rate that they want. So if you have a trade route that's worth 2, you can trade 2 resources per side, and it's up to each side if you want to trade mana, gold, or food. Okay. Those are the only resources that can be traded. You can't trade any of the other ones or agendas or spells or anything like that.
But now, there's no telling that Gil's going to, excuse me, it's going to want to trade with me. So I might want to actually establish a trade route that's neutral. Is that what this is going on?
Yes, the neutral trade route allows you to basically, at any time during the trade phase, trade one of your resources for another one with the neutral trade territories of Laruna. In other words, you're going to exchange it for one from the bank.
I think I'm going to do that because as much as I like the thought of Narafane teaming up with me to punish you for your flagrant use of favor farming, I'm going to set a trade route with Maport because it's consistent.
Okay, so that's your
cost me 1 gold, right?
That's correct.
And during the trade phase,
yep,
I'll make that exchange. Okay, so then I'm good with my kingdom stuff.
Okay, so then the kingdom phase is over. We're going to go to the map phase.
Right.
So it's going to go back to the first player, which was Gil.
Okay. For my map actions, I'm actually going to take my militia and move him this way. And the gladiator is going to deal his damage to Nevalon, giving it 5 total. So that'll flip the territory into my control, right? So we don't even really need to put more tokens on it.
That's correct.
So
but
now
I
own Nevalon.
I'll get you Nevalon, which is a territory that you now control.
Right. So now that I've done 5 damage to this neutral territory of Nevalon, it's now under my control. It gives me the ability to work that territory for additional resources and the ability to recruit specialized units and use a specific Nevalon-based agenda that will be folded into my agenda deck. I'm just gonna put.
So what does Nevalon give you? What if you work it? What happens?
If I work it, I get 3 food. So
Okay.
basically, it's like an improved granary. Really, it's like a tier 3 tile, which I didn't have to pay for.
So
and you don't need to have the maximum stability to work that. So
he can work it at any time. That means if we do try to undermine him, he'll still have access to a heavy food tile. So he can still feed the war machine.
And then, do you have the agendas for them?
you should have the agendas
That's a
as
good
well.
question.
And then I'll fold them into my agenda deck if you shuffle.
I do have agendas for them. There you go, my friend.
Okay.
So that'll just get shuffled into the rest of your agendas, and that can be pulled as normal.
Right. Then now Nevalon allows me to recruit plane striders and cultists, which
I like the sound of that.
I'll take a look at over here, but I don't think I'll need to use it right away. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my phase. Since the gladiator attacked, he can't move afterwards, so I'm set.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to do the pretty basic thing. I'm going to continue my very slow occupation of Tierra.
Well, I'm going to claim Hadramekis with my cavalry because I'll do 2 more damage, which puts me over the 5. And I'll get to claim that territory like Gil did. Now, unlike Gil's territory, Hadramekis is gold and food, 1 of each, and it allows me to work an extra trade route. So I can actually now make a trade route with Gil in cahoots against you, if need be, like originally planned.
I was curious if
I want to trade in cahoots against Gil.
maybe.
I'll field any offer. Any offer you tender will be heard. And that's it for the map.
Yep. So now the trade phase. Since you're the only one with the trade route open, why don't you explain what you're going to do?
I'm going to the trade route has a maximum exchange of 1, so I'm going to trade 1 mana for a resource I'd prefer, and since the neutral territories always agree, because there's always supply and demand there, I'm going to exchange it for gold. So I'm going to take 1 gold and put it in give me a little bit better distribution, I think, for my purposes. I'm not using the mana right now. And that's it for trade, because none of you have risen to the occasion yet and set up some trade routes with me.
Okay.
All right, so that's the end of the turn.
Okay. So
Meeple
move
launches
to
on.
Turn 4. World events. Is anyone declaring war or anything like that?
I don't have any trade routes set agreements, and there's no need for war just yet. So
Okay.
I guess.
So we'll continue with the past the world events, and we'll go into the kingdom phase. I am now the first player, so my income, I need to increase my stability by 1. I'm going to get 3 gold.
The biggest thing you're going to get, in my opinion.
We'll get there. Don't worry. Don't try to steal my thunder. I was getting there. 6 food.
6 food, he says. All right, there's your 6 food.
And apparently, I get 2 favor. Who knew?
It's all right. I'm still
So
winning.
there we go.
Gil, we got to stop this. We got to put an end to this. Favor farming punk.
You gotta destabilize him.
What do you got? What do you got?
I can't do anything yet, but I got plans.
Okay. Now I'm going to pay my upkeep. I'm going to pay 1 food for my unit, 1 food for my population. I will spend 3 food to increase my population by 1.
Oh no, Gil, he's not only farming favor, but he's economically outpacing us. How is this possible? What do we have to do to stop this?
Destroy him utterly, perhaps.
I'm going to pay 1 gold to cycle out an agenda. So I'm going to remove that agenda and draw a new one.
So if you were to go to war with Matt, would it be possible for me to curry favor by helping you defeat him?
It's a good question.
If
Doesn't
I were
the
to,
military alliance allow?
it
you to
does
gain some
allow
favor, right?
for both parties to profit from such an arrangement. So, what do you think?
I could be convinced to go to war with Matt.
Such an arrangement might be beneficial. Maybe I'll.
I am
set
sitting right here.
up a
Yeah.
trade partner. Set up a trade partner.
We won't
Okay.
be upsetting him.
I think I will bide my time. I'm not going to play any agendas or spells. I'm going to sit on my remaining treasury, and I will pass the turn on to you.
All right, let me collect my income real quick. That'll be my gold is 4, and my food is 4. All right, let's make sure I don't get too many so that we keep it legit. And again, 2 mana, and again, stability increase from that tile. So now becomes the tricky part.
Yeah, this is about the point where there are a lot of different options
I
that will
know.
determine the rest of the game. Here.
I know. The question is, are you going to play aggressive or not? Because if you are, I will keep these cards in my hand to help you. If you're not, then maybe I'll buddy up with Raneth and we'll just race for favor and push you out.
I'm nowhere near you. My unit's all the way on the other side of the world.
I've heard
I'm
this
just
story before.
peaceably sitting in my temples,
I don't know.
growing my
I don't
kingdom. I can be a good neighbor.
I mean, 2 favor a turn. I don't
It's a
know
lot.
if we have a choice to hold back here. I think we have to
It's a lot. It's a lot.
sabotage this.
All right. Let's be reasonable here. What if I move my stability down and reassign my meeples?
Okay.
Okay?
So now you reduce your stability by 1, and you can move all of them anywhere you want as long as...
Well, I want to work Hadramekis with
Okay.
one of them because that gives me an extra trade route. So now, if I wanted to, I could also solicit a trade route with Narafane to prepare for the incumbent war that will inevitably find its way to your doorstep.
You could next turn because you don't get the benefits of any tile until your income phase. So
So next turn, I could start setting up a trade with whomever I should choose.
That's
Now, I have to pay too, right? We'll both have to pay to open this route.
That was my understanding.
He's already complaining about the cost of the trade route.
Well,
He's already
I
looking
have-
ways to get out. Just saying.
I have to spend my gold on other things here.
Oh, I see how it is.
I could try to save some for this trade route.
All right. I'm going to spend some gold here to do a little upgrading. Now, another way that you gain favor at the end of the game is by actually having these upgrade tiles. The better your kingdom is, the more favor you earn. Is that the idea?
That's correct.
So there's no loss in actually upgrading these tiles, even if I don't necessarily need them at the moment.
Exactly. That's another way to show that through the economic game you'd be able to win at the end.
I see.
You measure how many territories that you hold, how many tile upgrades you have, and how much favor you've earned throughout the game. And that'll give you a grand total at the end.
I see. So I'm going to spend these 3 gold, not 4. I'm going to spend 3. And I'm going to upgrade my sanctuary. I'm going to go a little different here. The sanctuary is a
I
tile
do not like that.
that protects against stability loss. And at level 2, it will reduce stability loss by 2.
The reason why I'm mentioning that I did not like that, one of the main ways of losing stability, other than moving your workers, is being actively at war. So,
It sounds like somebody's preparing for the chaos of war.
So if you're at war and you're working the sanctuary, you won't lose any stability then?
that's correct. It acts basically as armor against losing your stability. Where normally your stability would go down 1, you reduce that stability loss. So the people, you would have to have multiple sources of stability loss per turn in order for you to actually lower your
I
stability.
see.
No.
And I could spend 3 more food to increase my population by another point,
That's correct.
right? But I would have had to pay the upkeep for my cavalry and my population.
Yes.
So now it's possible for me to end up in a situation where I can't even feed my own people.
That's
like
correct.
I have one cavalry. He would cost 1 food because he has the command token. Now, because I'm in this new tier of population, I need 2 to pay the upkeep for my pop. And I'm doing this retroactively because I was doing the math in my mind if this was possible. So now I only have 1 food left. But had I another unit, I would be collecting just enough to basically feed my people.
That's correct.
And if something should
So-
happen,
Then
So that
they're gonna
shows-
starve.
That shows you the risk of overexpending too soon before you have your...
All right, wise guys. All right,
Everything's all
I
set
see how
up.
this is going. So that will leave me with just the 1, and I guess I'm going to sit pat for now and pass the buck, and we'll see what happens. Okay, here's all of your tiles. All right,
I
so
didn't count it. I'm going to trust that the bank gave
I
me the
assure
right
you,
amount.
I gave you the right amount. If we're going to win, we're going to win the right way.
I'd say that's the
Right.
only form of duplicity that that is not encouraged at the table.
So my upkeep, 2 units. That's 2 food, and my pop. It's 1 more. So that's 3. Take those back. I guess you don't have to give me the whole amount every time if I'm going to do that every time.
I would assume once you're used to it, you probably
Yeah.
just...
Be able to pretty quickly know what your
Yeah.
general economy is going to be.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Here's the question. This is where all the options are sort of opening up here, and it's worrisome. It's worrisome.
I say sack that flame god right out of the gate. Just get that guy off the board.
Thinking about that guy. I don't know. He's a little
What do
too
you think
close
about
to
that?
my territory.
Just get rid of him.
Although I'm really worried about falling behind it worker-wise, so I'm going to spend 3 food to raise my pop by 1, so I get that extra worker.
That's correct.
That's like a break point there for an extra worker. Now, do I get to place him right away, or
Yes, you do. Get to place him right now. Of course, you don't get the benefit until the next
Right.
income phase, but he immediately gets placed.
I'm actually going to place him on Nevalon, so I'm going to use that 3 food tile that I got from conquering Nevalon, and man, what to do? I think I definitely want to upgrade. You know what I want to do? I want to open a trade route. So let me spend 1. I'm stealing 1 of your little trade route markers to open up a neutral trade route, because I'm not going to have the money Unless
I'll open trade.
you do.
Yeah.
I'll open trade. You need if you want to use any of these.
I mean, I can't
spells
do
that
it.
you have.
I can't do it
I
till
have
next turn.
I have
'cause-
abundance of.
You have 2 gold on you.
Nah, but I only just placed the worker for Hadramekos, so
You can't open the
I
second.
can't
Oh,
open the
right.
route until next turn.
But if I open this now, I'm not able to trade with you because I'll have my maximum of 1.
I just can't open it, so
Right.
I can't open until next turn.
The Bank of Ranith is always open.
Is it? The Bank of Ranith might get plundered soon. I don't know. it might not be a safe investment right now. I'm actually just gonna go neutral, so I can control my own trade for right now.
I understand.
And then what the hell? Let's up the ante a little bit. Spend 1 food or 1 gold to recruit a 2nd militia.
Now he's got 3 units fielded.
So that's all of my command. And this is the purple guy, so I'm going to put a little purple marker here until we have the appropriate markers in place. I'll spend the last of my gold.
What? I didn't say anything.
You seem to be upset that I'm efficiently using all my resources to upgrade this granary tile to level 2. And now I've got all this mana. I'm actually just going to use this to draw a new spell. So I'll put this one on the
Should have probably
bottom.
done that. I could see how war planning could definitely tear your heart out in situations.
Interesting. All right, now I have to discard, get rid of the mana, right?
I thought you were efficiently using your resources.
I'm as best I can.
Okay.
So that will drop you down to 5.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So then map phase.
Now the question is that I'm done conquering Hadramekos. Where does the cavalry move on?
Well, let's see. I was first player, so before you start your horrible plans of moving on, I will deal my damage, and then you can go.
One question though: does occupation damage stay if a different person gets onto the territory?
Only one. You can only deal occupation damage if there's no other unit in that location.
So,
Right, but what I'm saying is, let's say by some unfortunate circumstance, the flame guard dies, and then my unit walks.
You will not be able to do your own occupation damage until my occupation damage is cleared, and my occupation damage gets cleared once during the world event phase. So you would have to eliminate my unit, and then you would have to wait until
the occupation clears.
that way. Basically, you can't, as you're insinuating, sneak in and undo the 3 phases of work that I've done by just.
So you got to route out
overwhelming
all
me.
of these, occupiers. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay.
My cavalry is going to move on. I think Muleshield's a logical step to start occupying because I hear there are elves in those forests, and I'd like to see what those elves could do for me. So I'm going to.
That's right next to my territory.
It's right next to your territory, but it's neutral territory. I'm gonna claim some of it for myself.
You notice he's been doing a lot of talking about how I must be so dangerous that you should definitely be pointing your armies towards Ranith. Meanwhile, he's sliding up next to your borders.
I conquered Hadramekos so I can open an extra trade route, which
And-
was supposed to be with you, but you were busy trading with Mopor at the neutrals.
And now he's conquering another territory.
You
What
didn't,
are you
even,
mad about?
you didn't
He's-
even ask if you could go into that.
It's
territory.
not part of your
It's
kingdom.
adjacent. Look how close this is.
A lot of things are adjacent. That doesn't mean I have to ask for permission.
We're gonna have to talk about this.
We're discussing Rameth's problems right now, not mine. So, yeah, I'm done with my map section.
Okay.
Come on, Gil.
Gil, I think this seems like it's going to be a pivotal moment. Are you going to allow Highland's aggression to stand? Let them park a cavalry
not meant
on your
as an
border?
act of aggression.
This is gonna be a second territory, which
Well,
is gonna.
you're gonna sack Ranith.
What? No, he's not.
He is soon. Yes, he is.
I'm saying you're sending a clear message to him that he can do whatever he wants if you're just letting him sit there.
This is the give it and just take a mile routine.
while we figure out exactly what we need to do here, what if my guy goes to guard the territory for now?
And stops me from occupying further. Is that what you're
Until we come to an
insinuating?
agreement.
About how important Will Shield is to me?
Exactly.
Okay. I can live with that.
These guys,
These terms.
well, they're just going to come this direction for no real reason, so don't worry about them, Matt.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that's the end of the
He's stymieing me.
map phase.
Says trade.
Trade.
Well, I'm definitely trading with my neutral. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I can get rid of some extra
I'm going to
mana,
trade this 1 mana out
pick up some extra food.
for 1 gold. I have my little mini bank over here.
Good. Keep your own bank over there.
Wow, things getting real hot.
That's right. That's right. It's getting hostile quickly.
Okay. Next turn is turn 5,
The meeple moves on.
and we see there's this symbol on the track, which I assume means something. And what does that mean?
Well, every noted 5 turns is a world event. So during the world event phase, rather than just the events that the players are instigating, the world itself is going to have events that take place, and they will carry on until the next one. And this time we drew Nome's Blessing. It states that all kingdoms gain 2 extra food during the world event.
Okay.
So food production will actually be higher now that Nome's Blessing is.
And how long does that last?
It will last until the next world event is drawn. So this time until the 10th
Okay.
turn.
Wow, that's going to accelerate things quite a bit.
It very well may. I think if I'm well fed, we can really do some things here.
Wait, why are you looking at him? You're supposed to be looking in this direction.
I just saying. Just saying.
Are you going to let this stand?
All right.
He put
We'll see.
a unit
We'll see.
in the same space as you?
So what I want to know now is if nobody declares war, no alliances, all that happens now is everyone just gets 2 extra food.
Yes.
So this happens immediately because we drew this card.
Or is it during
It says
the
during income, so
okay.
starting in this income phase, it happens.
All right. So then who's first player now?
I think you are.
You are
me.
first player.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now I go first, and that means I would get that extra 2 food.
Yes, so you're going to take all of your income.
I can use 2 extra food to prepare. Let's see. So I get the normal 4. I was getting 2, 4, 6, 8 now. What do you know? This upgrade's paying off. So there's 6 food. There's 8. And I get 1 from working Hadramekos, right? So it's
Correct.
2, 4, 5, 2, my apologies, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's a lot of food going around these parts. A lot of food. And the normal gold income, which is 4. And then just the 1. Now I'm only gaining the 1 mana because.
Some of those world events could be bad, right? It's not going to always.
Well,
just
I would assume we could possibly draw something catastrophic
like a drought.
Yeah.
The opposite.
That's the idea. But we were fortunate this time. But they affect everyone the same, so I guess it's a matter of who's going to weather the good and the bad best in our quest for favor. All right, now we come to the hard decisions. What to do to prepare. I would also gain the 1 stability from my patrols, giving me a little leeway. And I guess this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the 3 food. Well, first the upkeep, which is 3, right? Because I have 1 unit and the 2 upkeep from.
Yes, now that you're in the next tier of your
It's more
population,
expensive.
it's more expensive.
But I want to spend 3 food as well to increase the population. It's 3, right?
Yes.
So I can move it up 1. Now, because I'm on patrols, I can actually spend another 3, like you did way back when, right?
That's correct.
To increase it again. So I could take another 3 food and increase it again, and that gives me another worker.
That's correct.
So now I could take this meeple and put him anywhere, but I won't gain the benefit.
Until your next income.
Right. So I could put him literally on any tile I'd like. And I think I'm going to do just that. I'm going to put him over here. This is a tough decision. Do I want to put him on a temple and start matching your favor farm? Do I want to get more food from more growth? Do I want to start preparing for battle? You see, there's a lot of decisions. I think I'm going to go the safe route. I'm going to play him on my sanctuary to minimize stability loss should anyone cause a problem. Now, that loss prevention won't save me from the loss of reassigning workers.
That's correct. It's only from external sources.
Okay. So it'll protect me from your horrible magic and stuff.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I could live with that. So everybody's been paid, all the debt's paid for upkeep. Now it's to spend some gold and to really double down on this circus I've got going on here. I'm going to spend that gold. It says to spend 4 gold to upgrade the gold mine again into the final tier, which is level 3. So now that one meeple is collecting a little more, and I still have some leftovers. But I can open a trade route if somebody's interested in doing business.
Trade route's full right now.
What about you?
I don't have any trade routes.
What does that mean?
But it might be hard to trade when you're at war.
Does that mean if I trade with you and set up a trade route, that I'm essentially throwing my lot in with you against Gil, who tried to stop me from taking Mulshiel, and that we're in this together against Narafane? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just trying to say that I've been peaceably sitting here, as I said, just trying to... I don't have all these wacky units and controlling things or anything like that. I'm minding my own business. So I don't have any problem trading with anyone, in all honesty.
You're making this difficult for me, Matt. I don't know. I just don't know. All right, I'm not opening a trade route with anybody. I don't know what to do yet. We're gonna spend this internal because I don't know who can be trusted. So I'm going to spend the 3 gold. It's not even 3 gold. It's 2 for the first tier. I'm gonna spend it. I'm gonna spend the 2 gold to increase the farms in case I need to use that tile.
I'll take 5 gold, 2 mana, and 10 food.
Well, you got your mini bank. I thought you didn't need me.
That's true. I don't need mana from you right now.
So what do you need from the real bank?
1 gold.
And?
6 food.
Damn. Here you go. There's your 6 food.
All right. The treasury is overflowing. Couple things I need to do in this phase. First, the upkeep. So 3 units. Now, if I don't pay an upkeep for them, they'll revolt, right?
That is correct.
So what does that mean?
If a unit is in revolt, they basically won't listen to your orders, and you can't do anything with them.
Damn.
You cannot move them, they cannot attack, and they have a defense of 0. So they're basically not flying your banner at the moment, and they're not going to be really accessible to you.
Do they still take up the command slot?
Yes.
Okay. So I can't revolt one and then sneak out another unit?
No. No.
Very well.
To game the system, this guy.
Well, just take advantage of the rules that are in place.
Okay.
So 3 food for those 3 guys, plus 1 food for my population, so that's 4. For my upkeep, I don't have any other upkeep, so that leaves me with 5 food. That's not bad. So what I'm gonna do actually is spend 2 food again to play my agenda Disciplined Populace, which says while in play I could ignore the stability cost for reassigning workers. Do you have those duration tokens?
Sure. How many do you need?
3.
There you go.
Okay, so that goes into effect immediately, and during every upkeep, you're going to remove one of your duration tokens.
Right. So now I could reassign a worker.
All of your workers.
All of them. Right.
Yep.
And it doesn't cost you anything.
That's correct.
Wow.
It's a great agenda.
That is
Well
baloney.
timed.
Okay.
What?
So then.
So now he could just keep rearranging them every turn with no penalty.
For the next 3 turns.
That's the flexibility. All right.
Guess I'll just take 1 off the the mana pool and put him on the war room real quick.
What was that?
Real quick,
You,
real
you
quick.
said that real subtly.
Real
You're putting
quick.
him where?
The war room,
Okay.
which will give me 2 more command slots starting next turn. And then I'll immediately draw a new agenda. Okay, that's interesting. And I can't play another agenda, correct?
That is correct.
Correct. Only one per
Only
turn.
one turn, okay. Spell-wise, I'm not going to do that, so I'll put this down. Now, with all of this money, I think we're going to have to start upgrading some more tiles here.
What you looking at?
You worried?
Just assessing.
5 for the next level of granary, huh? Although I do want mana. It's always a tough choice which one you want to upgrade, but I'm going to go for 3 and upgrade my war room since I'm already standing on it.
Honestly, I think that's part of the real fun decision making is trying to choose carefully which route to go, and then the
Right.
agony of
This whole time I've been sitting here staring at my tiles thinking, okay, I have this much gold and I need this and this. And
that's pretty cool.
I'm also spending 3 food to raise my pop into the next tier.
Just keeping pace. Just keeping pace.
And then I have a feeling I'm going to want to go back to the mana at some point. So I'm going to spend 2 to upgrade my mana pools. It's worth favor anyway, so no loss by upgrading anything. And then I got this extra mana, which I don't believe it. Right, no spell use, so I'm just going to discard that extra mana. All right.
okay. My income, I will take. Can I use your mini bank as you?
Yes, you can. You
Thank
may.
you. There you go.
For
They're
now.
I
cutting
have
me out.
3 gold.
You cutting me out?
I will take 1, 2, 3, 4.
We need more expedient banking in these buds. Your bank is too far. The messenger
6,
takes too long to get here.
6 food. Going to increase my stability by 1. I'm going to need 2 favor tokens.
Unbelievable. So that means you're winning now.
Technically, at the moment, I am winning.
Without final count values.
Yes.
Are you paying attention? He's already got 4 favor.
Okay.
Well, that's why.
We were
you've
worried
got
about me
3.
taking Move
I've got
Shield. He's
well,
farming favor over here.
I've got 0. Actually, do we get the favor for taking over these territories right away, or
Just at the end.
At the end.
Final count.
Okay.
So that is something you do always have to consider, is that it could look like I'm doing well, but then when you do the final count of your tiles and your territories and things, you could...
It could look like he's doing well, as if there's some way that he's not doing well. That's what you're saying.
I will now pay my upkeep of 3 food. Now, decisions. I am going to lower my stability by 1 to move some units around, some workers. While I like getting the extra favor, I do think I'm going to have to move from the temple since I see the direction that this is going in. I'm going to move him to the forts, which will give me another garrison. I'm going to move off of the patrols to... Oh, you read that?
No! A runaway.
And I will move that runaway worker to the sanctuary to also guard myself against the stability loss of the wars yet to come.
So where's that guy?
He's-
I just want to be
There we
sure.
go. Now I'm going to spend 3 gold to upgrade my forts,
Oh
which
my.
now give me
Look at this.
2 garrison instead of just the 1.
Seems like turtling's going on.
And then I'm going to spend 2 gold to upgrade my gold mines by 1. And then I'm going to spend my final gold to establish my own neutral trade route, since none of you seem to be too enticed at the concept of trading with other people.
Well, it's vicious out there.
And I will
We gotta
spend
keep to our own.
3 food
He's raising pop again.
to raise my population, since I'm already spending the 2 upkeep. And then, let's see.
He's got a lot of mana, Gil.
He
A
does.
lot of mana.
I've been thinking about that.
You know, defensive, offensive. Just saying.
I didn't do
Threat
anything.
here is-
Okay, and then I'm done. My treasury is full of mana, but I'm good there. All good.
Now what?
And now we're going to go to the map phase.
Who goes first?
You are the
Oh
first player.
man. So now I can't continue occupying unless I get that militia off the space, is what you're saying. The guild has essentially...
What I said was you cannot occupy if there's another unit on that space from another kingdom. You said that you can't do it until you get rid of Gil's unit.
Well,
I just wanted to
at the
clarify that.
current state of affairs, that's what you're saying here.
Yes. Current state of affairs, you would not be able to continue occupying Wilshield unless you did something about that
So,
militia.
if I were to
I'm going to put a little dude here. Just to show that I own it.
relinquish Moolshield to your control, or at the very least, step my cavalry off it as a sign of good faith, and move him more in Ranith's direction, could we agree upon a course of action?
I think that's workable. That's a workable solution.
I think that's doable. See, my thought is I could get that cavalry all the way over and maybe prepare for a potential 1, 2, 3.
That's a good place. A little buffer between
Just saying.
him
So-
and me.
My action's done.
Okay. So, then I suppose this guy will mosey on this way since he no longer has to worry about shield. This guy can, he's just gonna come this way. Now, look at this nifty thing. By the way, this map is like super cool. This is the first time I've seen it in full size. And I love the coloring. Now, if
Yeah.
I go on here and on this portal, I can pay mana to enter the gate and explore a dimension.
This is where the exploration part takes over. Each of these icons represent a port and a gate. Units can, like you said, in a gate, use mana to travel into new dimensions or pay gold at a port to travel to new isles. And each of these are randomly drawn, and depending on what you discover, it might yield you particular benefits for your kingdom.
All right, so randomly discover me a dimension, I suppose. How much is that? 2 mana to do that?
Sure is.
So instead of attacking, I'm using 2 mana to explore this dimension.
Let's have you draw at random, since I don't want to be accused of favoring anyone.
Right here.
There we go.
Interesting. Shadows and flame. Now, does he step onto
He
that?
moves there, yep.
He moves to the actual dimension.
That does not count as a move to go there. It will count as a move to
Go back.
come back.
In this horrid place, souls cry out. You shall send many to war so they may join the chorus. Gives me +2 command.
Really?
I didn't do it. He picked it at random.
I'm going to need some command tokens, so you might pass that whole group over there right now.
I'll do it. As long as you send those units over towards random.
Wow, that is... I've never had that kind of command before. This would be good. I'll just put these up here for now. Plus, because I'm going to get these 3 next turn, too. I want to move that worker, though. Okay.
All right, pal. Now what? Always get some wise input about what's going on here.
Well, I have a couple of different dilemmas going on here. One of the unique things about my Flame Guard is that it is a ranged unit. So I could, if I wanted to, attack the cavalry from Hero Vale.
You could. You could also be punished for such an action.
I could also decide to just continue and try to take Hero Vale for myself. Or I could try to retreat back to Raneth. Now, the problem with that is the only way for me to retreat is to go through one of your units, which will open me up to an ambush and also...
So now let's pretend I should happen to move a cavalry over to Tiravale while you're trying to claim it and happen to skewer your flame guard on my way in. Do I have to declare war to do that?
No. You could... Basically, units can skirmish at any point in a territory in a free section. The only thing that can't happen, that your units cannot do, is you cannot enter my borders until war is officially declared.
So I can't actually sack Raneth, but I can kill off a few random
That's correct.
units that should happen to be all alone in the wilderness.
You could. All right, so...
What are you doing with this flame guard here?
I have a bunch of decisions to make. None of them good.
Well, that's what happens when you go farming favors so early in the game.
You've pushed us to this, Matt.
Abandoning Tiravale.
Well, I abandoned Mool Shield. Why shouldn't you abandon? It's fair.
Suppose.
It's fair. I think.
Yeah.
So you done? Are you done?
Sure, you don't want to attack that cavalry? He's a little close to you.
I didn't attack
Send
you.
him a warning shot.
A warning shot.
Well, I could have warned him from...
That's true.
Tiravale.
Flame Guard has a ranged attack.
I don't like where you're going with this skill. I thought we were in this together, and here you are soliciting
I'm
attacks.
just, devil's advocating, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't like this at all.
I think I'm actually going...
What's it gonna be, Matt? Decisions.
I'm going to attack Gil's militia.
What?
I think there's actually a higher chance of me hitting it and dealing damage, and it looks like all Rishtandies are really looking at me.
Let me introduce you to our friends, the combat dice over here. Beautifully makeshifted by Matt's Arts and Crafts.
Dice are pretty simple. You have an attack die, a defense die, and a special die. Since I am attacking, I'm going to roll the attack die.
Unbelievable.
And your special?
And my special die, since my character has a special. I'm going to roll them both and then explain the results.
Oof.
I got a 1. I'm going to add that to my attack of 2, so I have attack of 3, and I would have to beat Gil's militia's defense in order to deal any damage. What is it?
Defense is 1.
Okay.
Plus the
he's
die.
A weenie, so
Plus the
I
die?
need to get at least a 2 in order to defend this attack.
Oh.
I did not.
No, I did not.
Now, so that would deal my 1 damage
One
to your
damage.
militia. I also rolled my special die, which did show up with 1 star.
This is the brown one, right? So that's this guy. So he's got 1 down.
So that would activate my special ability. My special ability lists, it's called Backdraft. I roll my special die when I attack, and it has 1 star, so that means I need to roll 1 star in order to activate it.
And so it's begun. He's drawn first blood.
And the status is all enemy units in the same location as the defender also suffer 1 damage. So there aren't any, so the special effect didn't apply, but I still dealt the damage.
So if he was clumping up units, the Flame Guard would be doing damage to all of them.
That's correct.
basically.
If I was able to get the appropriate roll on the special die.
All right. So I guess count your blessings. It was only 1 guy that got hurt.
I suppose.
All right. That sounds like an act of war to me.
It's just a warning shot.
Sounds like
You
an act
You were
of war.
supposed to shoot that the other direction.
So now what? Do we trade?
Yep.
Well, I'm trading with my neutral.
I'm doing the same.
Do I need this food? I
You gotta
forget.
pick up a little gold. Oh boy. Look what you've done.
I'll trade this mana for a gold.
All right. The Meeple marches on. World event phase. Gil, I think he has crossed the line. I am willing to support any endeavor as a benevolent third party that you might feel is appropriate for that act.
Well, I think it's time to declare war on the Kingdom of Raneth.
He's actually doing it.
Yes.
So I
You
would
get one
have
of those
to.
fancy war cards.
Yeah, baby. We sure do.
That's it. It's time.
So, war. So now what actually happens that he's formally declared war on
Okay,
Ranith?
so there are a couple of things that happens. Gil is going to choose any number of kingdoms. Presumably, it's just me. Or are you also declaring him as your enemy? You can have more than one enemy in this war.
No, just you.
Okay.
Just you, baby.
So, for the purposes of this war, you are the aggressor, and I am the defender. Basically, what happens there is during every upkeep, while war is in play, anyone who is involved in the war loses 1 stability. So your stability does go down. Then we're going to put 5 duration tokens on this war card.
What happens if the duration tokens expire?
Basically, what this does is this gives Gil 5 turns to sack Ranith and basically defeat me in the war. If he does so, he gains favor. However, if he does not and I successfully defend, I gain the favor instead.
Oh.
So basically, he has a timer on having to be able to defeat me.
So the
within-
gods will remember what happens here, is
yes,
what you're saying.
when I valiantly stand and defend my nation against the encroaching hordes, I will gain the favor, and
That remains to be seen. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Doesn't look good for you.
so that's the basics of what the war card does. And now he is allowed to enter my
Ranith.
borders
I see.
and attack me.
Now, what if I want to help him?
If you wanted to help him, you would have to pen a formal military alliance. If you want to hand me the military alliance card,
I think I might want to do that, considering I would like to be part of the glory of this great war.
okay. A couple things about the military alliance. One, it's actually played during your turn. This is a
So
very
I have to
important
wait
reason
until
for
it's
that.
my turn.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to choose a target kingdom who's at war, and you're going to join as an ally. So for all intents and purposes, you are part of the war.
Okay. But we'll do that on my turn.
Yes, if you decide to play that.
All right. We'll see. We'll see. See how interested I am in helping you with this.
So even if you are helping him, you won't be able to enter Ranith unless you join the war as a military alliance.
I see.
But you can attack units that are outside of the borders
Could
and do
be
all
like
the
a-
other things that you can do to influence what's going on.
I get it. Works for me. All right. I don't have any other world event phases then. Things to do. So we're going to do the kingdoms.
Yes.
Whose kingdom?
I think I go
Gil's first fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I got my income. And I totally forgot to take the extra food from that blessing card. So I gotta make sure I take it this turn.
I think you should. See, my bank remembers the correct amounts.
okay.
I don't know about you.
Your bank did give me some of the food, but neglected to give me the blessing food.
You didn't ask for it, man.
So I got 5 gold income. And again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 food. 12 food because of the blessing.
Oh my.
So this is 5 food.
So I can see that things are very much accelerating now.
Indeed.
So I need 4 more food.
Okay. Conveniently, I had 4 tokens set aside for you. As
Oh,
if I
it's
knew.
my upkeep food, and then 2. Actually, only 1 mana because I took my worker off that guy. I'd also get these extra command tokens, but I'm not going to use them yet, and I'm going to move that worker, so I'm not going to take them. But so my upkeep is for 3 units. 1, 2, 3, and 2 pop. 1, 2. So that's my upkeep for my army and my people.
Your stability is going to lower 1.
From the war.
That's correct.
Okay. Here's the thing. I don't want my stability to go down that much, so I'm going to move my worker now, and I still have. All right, I remove one of these upkeep tokens.
I'll take it.
I'll just put it over
Put it
here.
over there.
So, but I still have free worker movement, so I'm moving it from the war room to the patrol tab.
Well, yeah, because you don't have extra units yet, so you might
Yeah,
as well.
and I got this extra 2 command from the dimension.
Wow.
Discovery. Now, where the fun begins. I didn't want to necessarily do this now, but I think I have to.
Uh-oh.
I kind of screwed myself up a little bit, but I'm playing 3 gold to play this agenda called Witch Hunters.
Uh-oh.
Which says, put Witch Hunters in play with 3 mana tokens on it. Each time a spell targets you, your domain, or your units, you can remove a token to deal 2 damage to an enemy unit controlled by the caster of the spell, or reduce that population by 1. So basically, if Matt tries to be aggressive with spells towards me, I'm going to kill his populace or kill his units as my witch hunters going into hunting mode.
That is a great play.
And then let me draw my
What
agenda.
a counter. That sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible.
That sounds terrible to be Raneth right about now.
I was saving that one specifically for Matt, but
Oh no. This is awful.
oh, I do have this option too. Okay, double checking.
Yeah, I was just
You're
double
free?
checking to
Make sure. Let's see how it
understand the lay of the
works.
land.
What are you looking at me for?
Because I have a question for you,
What?
actually. Does that mean that if I cast a spell on him, it doesn't go into effect, or is that also a downside to me casting the spell?
The spell still takes effect.
You're just gonna.
You just
suffer.
punished for it.
And okay, and he can choose
Yep.
the target
Now-
of.
What the penalty
I
is.
definitely
yeah.
need more units. I have a limited amount of gold, but
I thought you'd be fielding more units and just pushing on into Raneth.
I'm
He
gonna
looks
spend my 4 and 2, 4 gold, 2 food to field another gladiator.
Ooh.
Let's put his card over here, and he's a purple. Excuse me,
You
my
wrecking the joint.
noisiness. I'm grabbing this purple to mark him, and one of my command tokens. All right, now.
Yeah.
I do have extra food and stuff. I'm just gonna spend this food for the pop growth, and yeah, that seems like it should be good for my turn.
All right, Matt,
Okay.
you're up.
I'm going to grab my income of 4 gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the 2 from the world event. Can I have, since I'm sure it may come into effect soon, can I have a couple of
What?
garrison tokens?
Uh-oh.
Since I'm on the fort?
How many?
2.
Actual couple. There you go. All right.
Now, for my upkeep, I'm going to spend 2 food for my population, 1 for my flame guard. I would normally have to lower my stability by 1, but since I'm working the sanctuary, I do not receive that stability loss. I'm guarded against it.
In the future, we'll have tokens, I guess, to represent that, so it'll be clear. But yeah, that's mighty handy given the circumstances. Let's see. Here's my 5 gold, and then it's 6 because of Hadramechus. So there's my gold pile. I only get 1 mana, which is my base, and then I get 2, 5, 9, 2, 6, 8, 9 food. Right. I haven't changed anything there. Oh no, Matt, that's really unfortunate.
Want to open trade route? Someone? Anyone?
Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So now I got to pay upkeep, which is 2, and then 1 for the cavalry. So I'm gonna dump that to the bank.
Now, something. Well, I'll let you continue. You finish your upkeep.
And I just paid it. Yeah. And now I'm gonna move my stability up 1.
I would like to mention something about the military alliance.
What's that?
That, as I mentioned, when you join it, you could join on either side of the war.
What are you trying
So
to say?
you would get a benefit if you joined my side of the war and the defenders won. Now you may think, oh well, he has a lot of stuff going on here, but I'm pretty well set up for defense. I have my 3 garrison, which we explained
listen to
acts
this.
as defense. I can deal damage to units once he comes in. So
I don't know. He's making a compelling
I'm-
pitch.
Except that he's already leading in favor, so if you help him win, he's only going to increase his lead. The whole
That's okay.
point.
You're
is to
also getting
stifle
favor
him.
though, so we will I will increase, but you will also increase somewhat, and it'll make sure we can just make this a 2-player game, basically. Cause
You want to even the spread of fate.
No, you don't. Because the more you even the spread, the more chances he has to overcome you. Here, you only have one enemy to deal with.
This sounds like the pleading of a doomed man.
All right.
You're expecting me to do the heavy lifting to bail
I don't
you
need,
out of this
I don't need
problem.
you to do any real heavy lifting. I just need you to... Basically, I need you to stay out of my way, and then if you want to benefit for it, you can, and if not, then,
Stay out of his way, please.
So,
What's
Gil,
the flame guard going to do?
if I were to offer you a military alliance to join this war on your side,
We'll take him out real quick and get back to our own business.
and then sort it out ourselves. So we have to spend 3 resources to establish this alliance.
I do or you do?
No, I do.
Okay.
And then I have to join in. So I'm going to spend 3 mana because I have plenty. And I'm going to put myself in this war on the side of the aggressor because I don't believe you. I think you're going to make me do the heavy lifting. Then when we win that war, because we will, because the Sentinels don't yield, then you're going to look to sneak me with this great glory accrual you got going on over there. And I'm just not having any of that. So put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Okay. So I'll just take this guy to indicate that.
Yeah. Now, the real question is what to do now that we've declared such a thing. So, I am going to spend the stability to reassign workers. And I'm going to put this worker here on the temple.
For the record, you created this monster.
What's that? What's the complaint here? I'm going to put this worker on the mana pools. Okay. And I am going to play an agenda. I am going to spend 3 gold for devotion, which gains me 1 favor for each religion tile being worked. So that would immediately give me 2 favor.
I can't believe you fell for his nonsense.
I'm just saying, technically.
This wasn't part of the deal.
The deal is made. The bargain has been struck. So.
All right, Matt. Once this is over, we're going to have to fix
Once
that.
this is over. Your
All
kingdom
you
will
have
be
to do
ashes
is
when
not-
this is
Bygones
over.
be bygones.
Just don't attack me, and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. So, now, I'm going to spend...
Because once you start funneling all your resources to war with me, he's just going to wait, and then once the war is over, he's going to turn around and turn against you, and he's already in a lead, and you'll be putting me in a position to not be able to help, because I'll be sacked and dealing with my own
I hear a lot
problems.
of crying, that's all I know. That's all I know.
Apparently, when I work the temple, it's an affront, but when he does it, it's just a lot of crying and everything's fine. So, the map phase is coming up, Gil.
Don't you know how this works?
I guess it's in your...
Don't you see
your
how this
hands.
works?
We'll see what
I'm actually going to spend my 2 mana. I'm going to spend 1 food, put these back, and 1 gold to recruit a warden. Now, the wardens are great units because they have no offensive ability, but they are extremely tough. They're very hard to kill, and it will all but ensure that there's a defensive measure in place at the homeland in case anyone gets any funny ideas. Now that that's done, I'm going to spend 3 food to increase the pop by 1. And I think everything is okay. Upkeep loss. Yeah. Now let me ask you, if I increase the population into a new upkeep tier, that comes after paying the upkeep, so I won't have to pay this
That's
until
correct.
next turn.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. What are you worried about? I'm ready to help you.
Yeah.
I'm your war ally now, right?
Ready to help yourself, it seems.
In all fairness, it would probably seem that things have taken a turn against Raneth in this given situation. And if we were to duel it out, is it possible for this war to go against you and for you to still contend until the end of the game? Let's say that this game was going to end right now, and we had the run tallies and all of that. It would be a clear, lopsided situation. But if it didn't, and it was going to go on for another so many turns to 15 or 20, what happens if he gets sacked? Do you just eliminate it?
Well, let's grab the sacked card and go over what happened.
That's a good question.
Basically, we're going to talk in pure hypotheticals because this isn't going to happen.
I'm just saying.
Were Gil and you able to go into my territory, deal enough damage to my kingdom, I would be sacked. I would take the sacked card, and it does a few different things on it. The state of being sacked basically lasts for 3 durations, for 3 phases, so it gets 3 duration tokens. In the first income phase after I'm sacked, I give half of my resources rounded down to whoever sacked me.
Oh.
So whoever hands me the sacked card gets half my income for 1 phase. And then I cannot be occupied or sacked while this card is in play, so you can't just then go, all right, well, I'm going to do it now, so I'm going to declare war. Right. So that basically prevents me for 3 turns to be safe. And then after that,
Well, I'd also get favor for sacking you, right?
Yes.
Yes, you would get favor.
But that comes from the war.
That comes from being the winner of the war. So basically, being sacked, I lose half of my resources for 1 income phase, which he will gain, and he will gain favor, but then I'm also protected for a couple of turns from someone attacking me again. So basically, that way you couldn't pinball and just every other turn someone else sacks me and then there's nothing I can do.
Other more importantly, it doesn't eliminate you.
It does not eliminate me, and I am able to. It does not take too much away from me. So while it is a benefit to Gil, it's not ruinous to me. I could still
survive and continue the race for favor.
And in theory, win, even if I was sacked. Being sacked isn't necessarily an end condition. It's a way for a warlike kingdom to gain favor rather than punishing the person.
So as the seasons move through the Age of Kingdoms, wars will be won and lost, but it's only the end tally that matters.
That's correct.
So it wasn't totally ruinous that I should join a war against you.
No.
You might recover from it.
Other than the fact that you've also have some other mechanisms in play to gain favor of your own. But no, it's not necessarily, it is not written in the stars that I would then lose because I've sacked once.
Well, I think we should probably leave the fate of the kingdoms to the people that will be playing the game, not us.